form this relationship with the client from the time that they come in to the time that that car leaves.
Some of these relationships they have are long-term relationships.
It's similar to a marriage.
It's something that you think about when you're going to bed at night.
There's a lot of give and take.
You know, you make that commitment and that's it.
It's the first thing that comes into your mind when you wake up in the morning.
How much time and effort you put in is exactly what you'll get in return.
The relationship the client has with their vehicle is very much like a marriage.
There's highs and lows.
It's all about the satisfaction that you're going to get of a job well done.
The relationship we have with Gil and Linda and the vehicles is like a marriage.
That relationship the client has with that vehicle, we share that with them. So we're both married to the ride.
Gil and Linda are married to the rides.
There are many reasons people restore vehicles. Some are sentimental reasons, some are just nostalgia as far as when I was younger, these are the cars that I had and I'd like to have them now that I'm an adult and I can afford them.
So this is a very unique industry because there's so much variety. Not just variety with clientele, but the vehicles. I mean, you can have a client select any type of vehicle, whether it's a truck, Camaro, Mustang, Mopar. Even when you have two clients select the same vehicle, there's still variety there.
For instance, we have our two Mustangs. We have one that's going to be an original restoration. He's trying to bring it back to, when his parents had it. He's doing a tribute to, what it originally was, how it rolled off the factory floor.
The client chose to stay all original, so we're doing work on it, but we're keeping the essence of that 1966 Mustang intact. So this is more of a restoration type project.
So everything will be original. The interior will be original, hubcaps, all the badging, no modifications, the motor, drivetrain, everything will be original.
We have another client with the 69 Mustang. They went totally in a different direction. This is a resto mod project.
Some are strictly just for the sake of actually doing a kick-ass car and having something that's fast and that looks great.
So it has a modern chassis, it has a modern drivetrain. So we were tasked with completing an interior that complemented that style of vehicle, which we kind of specialize in.
It's been completely modified, performance-wise, body-wise, interior-wise. So it's kind of neat to see them side by side and you sort of get the best of both worlds.
Even though the client wanted this resto mod look, they were still attached to certain elements of that vehicle, such as the fold down rear seat and then the dash element of that brushed aluminum. So you could go full restoration, you can go resto mod, but just because you go resto mod doesn't mean you have to abandon certain features of that vehicle. You can kind of highlight them in the interior as well.
I like the sentimental bills, so it's kind of fun to see the end result and see how the client reacts to the vehicle when it's done.
We're working on this 1969 Mustang, and Tyler's the right person for the job because I know with his attention to detail, he's going to be able to take those panels, cut them up, modify them, hand them off, and in the end, they're going to look exactly like factory.
So I'm currently working on a 1969 Mustang. I'm redoing all the interior rear panels for the vehicle because the car has been tubbed, so it has a bigger rear axle. So I'm actually shortening or expanding all of those rear panels to fit where the factory ones wouldn't anymore.
Eric and I took a look at this 1969 Mustang rendering, specifically the door panel. So we came up with the approach. We're going to have to prep that door panel, sand it smooth, lay down the leather, make sure we clean out the inside edge because we're going to have to put an insert in on the end. Not to mention the polished aluminum trim has to fit perfectly as well. One of the key components on this Mustang door panel is that seam. Not the top stitch seam, but the flat seam. So Eric's got to pay particular attention to shave that down, tap it down, and lay it down smoothly. Because in the end, we want it to look like it's a plastic panel, only covered in leather.
We have our 66 Mustang here, and this is a local client. He's amazing. We love him.
Hilton, Dionette. This is my 66 Mustang. It used to be my father's, and he bought it back in 1980, 1981, and that was the car that I used to drive since I was a teenager.
He came, just stopped by one day and saw us in the paper.
I was reading the Warwick Advertiser, and I saw GCD.
We do some local advertising here within the community, and just didn't know we were here, wanted to check us out, did a nice tour of the shop, and he just loved everything he saw.
And I said, oh my God, this is the place I need. And came here and met with Linda, and she gave me the walk around, and I said, okay, this is it.
He told me about the car that's here now, and a nice story. It was his father's. Partial restoration, never got finished, so that's the not nice part of the story.
It was original color was white with red stripes, and not a problem. But then it started getting a little older, and little repairs here and there. And then, you know, my father gave it to a couple brothers who did some work, the mechanics and the body work, and they just started taking parts out of the car to build another Mustang. Yeah, my mom was also very proud of the car, and she was, you know, it's a Mustang, it's a classic car, it's an American car. She loved the look, and she was very upset when you know, the car was being, I guess, when they took advantage, and she was very upset, and she kept calling me. At the same time, they were both very sick, you know, and I think that's why they were taking advantage of them.
And he wanted us to get it finished for him, and so he can drive it and enjoy it and think of his dad while he's out cruising, and the car can live on, which I think is really nice, and that's the whole goal.
So I'm committed to keep the car. I love the car. I have a passion for this car, and it's based on how my parents felt about this car from the 80s when they first got the car.
It's, you know, here for a couple things. We have front disc conversion. It's going to get new wheels and new tires, new interior stock kit, you know, the nice red color that I really love it with this blue. I think it's going to look beautiful. I love this color. It's so nice.
I'm very proud of the car. It's a beautiful car. It's been in the family now for a few decades, and I'm committed to keep it. And it's just as a memory. And just to remember my parents.
Tweaking some other little things. It needs glass repairs and power steering. We had to go through the motor. We are putting a Holley EFI system in here, a little bit easier for him to start and use. I'm so happy about him being here, and I'm happy that we can have this car live on. And I'm happy that that memory is going to be something that he can carry on and think about his dad when he's out driving it. And I'm sure his dad would be very happy to know that he's enjoying it and driving it. So it's a little emotional, but it's a good feeling. And that's why I do what I do here. And that's why we all do what we do here.
We're back on the 1969 Mustang. Tyler has officially finished all the rear panel fabrication. It's now handed off to Guido to go ahead and start padding it and wrapping it. So the client for the 1969 Mustang stops by the shop, throws a little news on us. He wants the entire dash wrapped. Now, I'm not just talking about the dash pad itself, but the face of the dash, the lower dash, everything wrapped in leather. So Guido's gonna have to get started on the pad itself. Not an easy task, given the shape of that dash. So when Guido and I sat down and went over this dash pad, we came up with the approach. He's going to go ahead and make it in 3 pieces. So each of the eyebrows itself, what goes over the gauge, what goes over the clock, will be wrapped separately. Then he's going to have to go ahead and do a middle section. And it has to look like it's factory. So he's going to go ahead, do a mold of it, fiberglass it, Make sure it fits nice and tight. Add a little Bondo where necessary, because that's going to have to get wrapped in leather and it's going to have to fit all together seamlessly.
This car is a 1966 Mustang hardtop. From what I understand, it originally came from Puerto Rico. According to the VIN, it came with a 289 two-barrel, and now it has a 200 cubic inch six-cylinder in it. The initial task that I had was to get the car running. I didn't really know how long it's been since it was running, but at one time it was. The tumbler was out of the ignition switch, so I basically had to use a screwdriver to turn the key on. I checked just to make sure it had compression, and it did. I put a little bit of oil in the cylinders just to kind of help out that sealing a little bit since the car hadn't been started in a while. I cleaned the points off. I turned the key on, made sure I had voltage at the coil. Roughly about 7 volts. I didn't have any. Someone had put a wiring harness in the car. I traced it back, and what they had done was they didn't connect the resistance wire into the ignition switch. Now I had voltage at the coil. I turned the key on, and the car started right up. It ran smoothly, so it kind of gave me a good idea that the engine was in pretty good shape. Now I'm in the process of getting all the windows to work, to roll up and down. Various issues, mostly rollers. I have a right front door window that is the bottom rail that has rusted away. The window is not attached, so I'm in the process of doing that.
Today, Rich is working on the 66 Mustang. He's getting all the window trim installed. We did have to take some of the glass out to adjust it. And you know, obviously, when you're doing that, you want to put new weather stripping in and just make it look nicer, make a nicer fit while you're adjusting everything.
I had to take all the chrome off the front and rear windshields and remove the front and rear windows because it's going to get a headliner put in it.
The topper for this are going to be the new wheels. We have these really cool new rims and tires with little center caps, and that's just definitely going to set it off. I mean, not that the hubcaps that are falling off aren't wonderful, but I think they were ready to go. I think we touched them and they just came off, and I can't wait for Hilton to come in and check it out.
We're back on the 1969 Mustang Mach 1. We got a few things left on it, but we've completed all the interior paint work. So we got that brushed silver look on it. The whole back is assembled. Julio wrapped up the seats. I believe the trunk is all done. Guido has to get in, finish up the door panels. We got to get those hung on the car. We got to get all the windlace completed. We got to do one final test for the audio, make sure everything's good, make sure all the gauges are good, and then this thing's ready to be picked up and head home.
So in 2017, I decided to ship the car to New York, and took a couple of months. It was a big process in Puerto Rico with the paperwork and all the things that I needed to do, but it got here. When it got here, it was not running. Linda sent me an email, and she asked me to stop by, take a look at the progress. Came in, and right away I noticed all the things that had been done.
And we've actually done quite a bit of work since you've seen it last. We did get the motor running.
That's
and
good.
Just a couple little things to go over. If you look in the back, like all the way in the back, you can see a little bit of rust that's coming out of the back of the motor. That's actually, there's supposed to be a plug that's back there on the back of the block that, I don't know if they had one in there that broke and they were trying to seal it, but whatever's going on, it's not plugging up the motor, and that's causing fluid to come out, and it's causing it to react, and it's rusting. So we do have the freeze out plugs. You know, if you look over here, you notice, if you look down on the block here, you see these little indents, if you can come over.
Yes.
Under the header.
Yep.
So that's what it's supposed to look like on the back of your motor, and that's missing. The
wow.
it's like a little cap that goes in, and it's like an indent.
And it was open?
It's like I don't know if they did some kind of a temporary fix in there, but whatever it is, it's failing, and that's the reason that you have the rust in there. So we have that. We're going to fix that and put that on. Once we get that up in the air, we'll do that. Okay. And we got all the lights working. You see your headlights are in.
Very nice. Yep.
Your reverse lights, your tail lights, all of that's working. The transmission, we have to figure out why that's leaking.
There's a leak, yeah.
And once we get that up in the air to do the new disc brake conversion that we have in all your new suspension, we'll be able to take a closer look at that and see what's going on.
Before I shipped the car to New York, they had to do a power wash in Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
And the car wasn't leaking. So after the power wash, I noticed a leak.
All right, so it may just
might be that it's
something.
it's
hopefully
simple,
something simple.
Simple.
Let's.
Yeah. It may be.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, you never know, and haven't put it up in the air yet.
Sure.
So we've literally, I'm like, let's just start with the wiring and get all that running, like all of your dash stuff, your ignition. We got your all new ignition switch, so that's going to work and that's going to be reliable. That's the most important.
Right.
Otherwise, you don't go anywhere
sure.
with that. So that's all set up for you. We put in a neutral safety switch, which you didn't have, which is imperative. This way, you can only start the car and move it in neutral. And if you start it, it would start still in first or second, and obviously you don't want to start it and go forward, especially if you're in a garage or you have a car behind you. So, you know, those are just some of the cursory things that we have going on, and then obviously, you know, we will be doing the suspension, the power steering, and all those components that we have here for you that we got before you came.
Okay. And the radiator will be replaced.
Yes, radiator will be replaced. That's a little crusty.
Yeah, very.
So you don't want to pull all that into your nice motor and put that through there. But no, we'll certainly address all that. The horns, he actually jumped. So these aren't the original horns, but he was able to make a little jump wire, so these actually work now.
Oh, they do
Yep.
work?
You'll
Okay.
need that for inspection purposes.
That's
so,
right, yeah.
So those work now. Do you have any questions?
No, I'm just
Taking it
happy.
in?
Yeah, happy to see the progress.
All right,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, and your seats are done. They're all set to go in. We got your new seat tracks, so that'll be good. You don't have to worry about, you know,
Moving.
bouncing around. They're not all rusted out, and they're nice and new and fresh. But yeah, so I'm excited about this. I think this is gonna be a nice project, and you'll be able to actually drive it and enjoy it finally.
I think my folks will be happy.
I think so too.
Once the car is completed, my plan is to cruise around. It's a weekend car, Sunday morning, cruise around town, just enjoy.
Quick update on our 66 Mustang. We are at the suspension and brakes portion of the project, and Rich and Hank have been working away, getting everything done. We've got the driver's side done, and next up is the passenger side, and then we can put the new wheels on, which are already mounted and balanced, and they're just waiting patiently to go on. And that's going to be the best part, is to see all that, and I'm sure the client can't wait to see it either.
Okay. All right, today I'm working on the 1966 Ford Mustang, and I'm updating the gauges in there to a new vintage USA gauges. It's a 6 gauge, so you have individual oil, voltmeter, water temperature, and then you have individual speedo and tachometer, which is going to make the car be modernized inside. Instead of having just the old school lights that tell you, it's too late, that you're already overheating or you're not charging. You'll actually be able to keep an eye on what's happening with the engine at real time. Right now I'm just working on some of the ground wires for the turn signal and high beam indicators that are built in like factory.
Gil's team's gonna be putting the interior in. We have gauges from new vintage that are going in. It showed up without anything. New radio, those are the types of things, once you get all the mechanical done, these are the things that you work on and focus on, but these are the creature comforts, and these are the things that the client interacts with most, when they're out driving it and enjoying it.
1966 Mustang in the shop, and it is time for the interior to get done. Kurt is busy working on the front seats, getting that all set. Very simple project for us on this one. It's a full TMI kit, so we got to go ahead and install that kit. So we've already sandblasted, powder coated the frames, we got new foam. So now it's time to get these covers on, get them all put together, get all the nice beautiful trim on the exterior of the seat put together, all the little bumpers. So it's quite involved. So Kurt's going to be working on that. And then we got to go ahead and get the headliner in. And this particular headliner is a bit of a challenge. We have to have the front windshield out and the rear glass out. And then Kurt can go in there and do this headliner, because it wraps into the window channel. So that's why it's key to have all the glass out of it. It's a original style moon grain red headliner, so those usually go beautifully. They heat well. It'll be a nice tight fit. And then once that's all done, hopefully we can get the carpet in, get some panels installed, and start assembling the whole interior. So today we're involved in the final interior assembly of the 66 Mustang. So Kurt and I are tag teaming this one. I'm gonna be under the dash, getting all the dash lug nut things kind of tightened up. So those studs have to go through the metal, and then I gotta get underneath and in there and kind of like bend a certain way to get the nuts on the studs there to get the dash secure. I don't know how I wound up with that task in this, and I think Kurt's just putting in some kick panels, so I have to reevaluate my life at this point, because I'm under the dash and he's doing a kick panel. So that's what's on tap today. We got to get the carpet finalized, we got to get the kick panels in, we got to get the dash in, and then I'll probably step away at that point because my back's going to be hurting, and Kurt's got to finish up the console, and this one's going to be a wrap.
Yeah, so the 66 we'd like to wrap up. It's the client's birthday coming up, so we're trying to get it so he can either get it on or around his birthday and he can enjoy it. So we kind of put everybody on it to get it moved along a little faster. And Kurt was working on the interior with Gil today, and we had Rich hooking up the new battery and making sure that everything was working, nicely under the hood. And the new gauges went in today, all the wiring, the center console, make sure that the interior lights are working, and the radio, that'll be going in next. But it was pretty much all hands on deck to try to get this really much further along so that, we can get it back to the client soon.
So on the 1966 Ford Mustang, I was able to finally get everything hooked up, sniper system, all the fuel system ready to go, coolant in there, battery fired right up actually, and then I proceeded to, for the first time in many years, actually get it driving around the parking lot to test out the transmission. We weren't sure what shape that was in, make sure the sniper was working right, and make sure nothing overheated, and everything went great.
The Mustang's coming along fairly quick. We are now at the point where we're making it look pretty, getting all the emblems on. The previous person that worked on it, or shop that worked on it, covered up a lot of the holes, so we had to go hunting and find them and make them again so we could put all the trim on. And new headlight bezels, new taillight bezels, new bumpers, all the things that make it just pop when you see it. And those are the things that make it feel complete, and that's where we're at right now.
All right, next up on the 66 Mustang for me is to finish bleeding the brakes, make sure all the radio works, all the lights work on it, and then I want to take it out for a bunch of miles on it, make sure everything is really good, everything's running, driving good, brakes are good.
Yeah, honestly, we should be wrapping this up in, I would say, about 2 weeks. We got it driving around the parking lot. We were worried about the transmission, whether or not it was going to work, because, we got an unknown vehicle, unknown motor. We weren't really sure about it, but it was nice to see it go in reverse and go forward and drive around the parking lot and move around. So it's really promising that that would be good to go once it's on the road.
So the 1969 Mustang Mach 1 is all done. It's wrapped up. The guys did an amazing job on it. All these details are completed. The full team worked on this one, so it's ready to head home. I mean, Guido did an amazing job with the dash, that three-piece dash, all the detail with the stitch work, all the paint work on the interior panels, Julio on the seats. Tyler spent an eternity in that back there with all those panels because it was tubbed out, so he had to remake every piece of that. And it looks factory. So unfortunately, all that work, and at the end it looks factory. So you don't understand how much work went into that. But this one's pretty amazing. Full Audio Frog sound system, all Relicate leather. The trunk is done on this. I love the Alcantara detail on the door panel, all the polished trim work. So this one's pretty beautiful. It's actually a nice upgraded 1969 Mustang. I think the client's going to really appreciate the amount of detail that went into this project.
I'm Hilton Dionette. I'm the owner of the Mustang 1966. It used to be my father's car, and I used to drive it when I was a teenager, and he gave it to me. The car looks amazing. The inside is incredible. It looks very sharp. The work that you guys have done to the car is incredible. The words are really hard to explain, but I like the sound. The sound was great. It reminded me back decades ago. First time seeing it, and I can't tell you how impressed and happy I am to see this car just come alive, you know? Incredible. It's a flashback to my teenage years. I used to drive it to the beach. I used to take it from my parents. And it's just incredible. The feeling is incredible. I'm sure my parents are happy, smiling from wherever they are. Well, getting behind the wheels was, a mix of emotions, after so many years of not driving it. The contrast between the outside, the paint, and the inside, it's really great. And driving it, I feel so good. I love it. It's great. Feels good. I love the sound of the car, and it's beautiful. Very happy.
Hilton picked up his car, and his gratefulness, I guess if that's a word, was overwhelming. And just to see his face and the smile and the reaction, just from when he originally brought it in, and obviously being upset with the condition it was in, and why it came to us, and where it came from. And that's so rewarding. He was so happy, and it's contagious because you just want to smile. I wanted to cry a couple times because you know how I am, but I think it held it together good, and he definitely just loved it. And I think it came out really nice.
Yeah, and I would say from the moment I went to go look at it, I knew, and hearing the backstory, I knew we had to do this project because I realized how much it meant to him because it was his father's car, and I can understand that because I'm doing my own project right now in honor of my father. So it's definitely, I knew that we had to take this one on, and even though the list was long and we didn't tackle the body and paint this time around, I just think exterior-wise and with that beautiful red interior. And my favorite part is when he sits in it, he grabbed the steering wheel, he turned the music up. He was just like that smile, and you can tell like it just kind of, in his face, it took him back, It's like a time machine.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they all are. And I think that's what makes this all worth it in the end. And that's one that I will definitely not forget. That one will stay with me for sure. And And I can't wait to see him at our next open house. It's gonna be awesome.
Absolutely. So here's two beautiful cars and amazing cars.
Yes, I will cheers to that.
Finding you guys was like a gift. I've been looking for a place like this for many years, and it just happened to be next door. So coming here was from the beginning, meeting Linda and Gil, made me feel really comfortable and at ease. I had that connection with you guys. I felt comfortable, and I felt like this is the place where they're gonna take care of my car.
I'm very happy with it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.